Hi everyone, my name is Kevin Yu and I am a registered marriage and family therapist associate, and today I wanted to share with you what I would do to find a therapist. And finding a therapist is a big pain in the butt because there are so many titles and therapeutic terminology, and if it's your first time finding a therapist, it could be very overwhelming. But just like anything that you do for the very first time, there's going to be a lot of frustration and challenges along the way. And why am I talking about this? The research makes it very clear that the therapist-client relationship is one of the primary factors in creating a successful clinical outcome. And I want to make this process as easy as possible for the clients because I know when I was trying to look for a therapist, the experience was awful. So here's how I would go about finding a therapist. For tip number one, if I had insurance, I would go through my insurance provider to help me find a therapist in my network because you're gonna save a lot of money. With a lot of these insurance companies, the technology is a little bit older, so most of the time you'll be met with a blank profile picture with just their name and their contact information. There's not much description about the treatments that they offer. You're gonna have to comb through and research the names anyways. Pretty much this is a manually intensive process, copying, pasting all these names into Google and trying to find some information about them. Hopefully the therapist has a Psychology Today page or a personal website that you can read more about them and their specialties. So when you get a chance to look at their profile, see if they treat anxiety, see if they treat depression. Are you looking for an individual therapist? And once you find someone you're interested in, please call and email them to try to set up an initial consultation. For me, I prefer email definitely because most of the time I might be in session or I might have only a short amount of time that I won't be able to take a phone call. After at the end of the day or during my lunch, I can definitely take a look at it and follow up. And what you should include in the email is your contact information, asking if you're accepting new clients or not, what the fee is, and your availability for a initial consultation over the phone. And a lot of therapists offer this as a free service, just so that we can get to know you as well as you can get to know us. So for example, I would write, my name is Kevin Yu, contact information, phone number, email, best time to reach me at, availability for an initial consultation, what's your fee, and are you accepting new clients right now? So to summarize again, if you're going through insurance, making sure that they're in your network because you're using this for a lower fee since you might be seeing this therapist lifelong, check how many sessions are going to be covered and ask the insurance provider to help you find the directory with all the people in your network. And that brings me to tip number two. If I did not have insurance or if I didn't want to go through my insurance provider, I would go and use Psychology Today. And Psychology Today is a platform to help you find a therapist as well as an overall resource for mental health. Start by looking for a therapist in your zip code or state since everything has moved to online sessions, and I predict that more and more therapists are going to be working through online platforms, which is great if you are in an area that doesn't have access to a nearby therapist. Preferably, if you want to see your therapist in person after this pandemic, then searching in your area is probably the best. Take some time to reflect on the qualities of someone you're really close to and how they make you feel safe and heard. You might want to seek out a therapist that has similar cultural understanding, is also the same gender, and listens more than they talk. Use the filters on the left side of the website to narrow down your choices. After looking through the profiles, see if their description is something you resonate with. Look at their fee and also look at their specialties. And check out their website if they have one. And once you connect with the therapist, you should negotiate the fee because most therapists have a range of fees that they're willing to accept. If the therapist is full, ask them if they can put you in touch with anyone they recommend. Most therapists have a wide network, and if they have your best interest at heart, they're gonna help you find your best fit. See if the therapist is willing to take feedback about their session, or if they ask you feedback in general. Therapy is a two-way street that requires both the therapist and the client to be putting in work for change. If your therapist becomes defensive or is afraid of your feedback, that's a good indication that it might not be the best fit. You deserve to work with someone that incorporates your experience to ensure quality of service. And if you get the chance, complete the paperwork before the first session because you can actually save yourself 15 minutes of time. And give yourself 3 sessions if financially possible to decide whether or not you want to continue seeing that therapist. Because the first couple of sessions is usually used as an assessment phase for the therapist to learn more about you. And finding a therapist is a lot like dating. There's no reason to force yourself to stay with someone you have difficulty trusting or you don't feel comfortable with. And for the third tip, if you have any friends or family that are in the mental health space, that is a clinical psychiatrist, a clinical psychologist, social worker, counselor, marriage and family therapist, ask them what would they recommend. And if you feel comfortable letting them know about your current situation, I would highly recommend that as well. And by recruiting experts in the field, they can definitely comb through profiles a lot more quickly and then see if the therapist has the right experience to be working with you, and by also providing you some keywords that you can narrow down your search with. This brings me to tip 4. These are some budget-friendly options to find a therapist. You can look for an associate therapist, and usually they have a cheaper rate than someone that is licensed. And a great thing about working with an associate is because of the cheaper rate, as well as the supervision that the associate is required to get. So essentially, you're gonna have 2 mental health professionals looking after you. Also looking into schools or mental health clinics in the area that offer sliding scale fees. And these fees are usually determined by income level, and the price ranging from $1 all the way to $120. And the 5th tip is BetterHelp and Talkspace, and 2 of the leading companies that offer therapeutic services online. I personally have not used any of these services, but I've had friends and I've also referred to them because they have a really easy assessment phase. And the marriage between mental health and technology has been great for the industry because it's making therapy more accessible on a wider scale. And both companies are gonna have a assessment questionnaire for you to fill out in order to match you with a therapist of their choosing. And this is a great way if you don't wanna go through psychology today, you don't really wanna do the research, and if you don't wanna go through your insurance company, you can go into one of these websites, answer the questionnaire, and they'll do all the work to try to help you find a therapist. Even if you are a person that takes forever to open up, you still deserve a clinician that will help you ease into the healing process at your own pace. It might take you a few different visits to find the right fit, and that's totally fine. Be gentle with yourself and the entire process. Maybe even think about how much you want to share before going into the first session. Your experiences are valid, and my greatest hope is that you get to work with someone that provides you the right tools at the right moment to create the future that you want. Thanks again for checking out this video. I hope it really makes it easier for you to find a therapist. And if you found this video helpful, please share with a friend and like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I post content about physical health, mental health, and overall wellness. And that's it for today. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.